Hi, it's Jay Allen from My True North, and as always, it's Monday afternoon, and we are here live on the page and in the group to be able to talk about all things significant and sustainable growth for both you and your business, as part of our mission to be able to help 10,000 business owners to significantly and sustainably grow both them and the businesses and add a zero to their personal disposable income. Over the next month of February, we're going to be spending a lot of time talking about Mastermind. What are they? Who are they for? Why are they there? And what you can learn from within a Mastermind. However, today we are going to be sharing, quite controversially, the 7 reasons why you shouldn't join a Mastermind. Now, like I say, this is rather controversial on the basis that that is the fundamental function of our business. However, it's all about being ethical, and ethical means being open, honest, and transparent. It's also about being able to call out the good, the bad, and the ugly, and that talks about why sometimes Mastermind isn't the right solution for you and your business. So let's look at why you wouldn't join a Mastermind in today's live. If you want to be able to ask any questions, please feel free to do so. Simply stick them in the comments, and at the end of today, once I've finished, I will read through all the comments live on the session and answer them before I close off today. I'm expecting to be here for about 20-25 minutes or so. So grab a pen, grab some note paper, ask as many questions as you want. And if you'd like to invite some people to come and join us today on the live, then please feel free to do so. So today, like I say, I want to share with you the 7 reasons as to why, as a business owner, you probably shouldn't join a Mastermind. Now, don't get me wrong, I haven't just made these up. These have all come from reasons why either people have come to our Mastermind and chosen not to progress, or people who've come and chosen not to stay. Either people who have come along for a look-see, and I'll tell you about that in a second as to how we offer some discovery days to be able to come along and see who we are and what we're about for free, but have chosen not to progress to become clients of ours. But also some people that have been for maybe 1 or 2 sessions and then decided, you know what, this is not for me. So I'm going to be sharing with you here and now the 7 reasons why, as a business owner, you really shouldn't join a Mastermind. Number 1, if you've got any guilt whatsoever in investing in yourself, then the chances are that you're not going to be able to see the benefits of joining a Mastermind group. There have been a number of people in my past that, whilst they are comfortable and happy to be able to invest money in their business, they're happy to buy a printer or a van or pay some rent on accommodation, they see the intrinsic value, they see the physical value of being and seeing and touching, that they benefit. And yet, as soon as it comes to talking about personal development, or professional development, as soon as it comes to that intangible asset called mind and memory and consciousness, about decision-making process, if we can't physically touch it, then all of a sudden we have a real hang-up about being able to make any form of investment. There's been a couple of occasions in the past where people have said they're more than happy to be able to spend hundreds, if not thousands of pounds investing in their business, in the software, in the staff, in a building or some rent. Interestingly enough, they were more comfortable to rent a building than they were to invest in themselves. Well, isn't that intriguing? You know, I haven't got any problems with paying a mortgage because, ironically, you're then purchasing an asset in the future. But interestingly, there have been a number of people that have considered the rent to be more beneficial to them than the competence that you will pick up from sharing knowledge and ideas with other people. They've seen rent, which in all essence might be a necessity, but at the same extent, you're getting nothing back for your money. At the end of the term, you're out. You've got nothing other than you've had somewhere to hang your hat. And yet they've seen rent as an important a necessity in business, and haven't considered training and development of both you as a business owner and your staff in the same competency. So number 1, if you've got any form of guilt whatsoever associated with benefiting yourself and understanding more, if you find the investment in Audible quite audacious, then ironically, probably Mastermind, or certainly our level of Mastermind, is probably not the right level of investment for you. I'll talk to you perhaps later in another episode over the next week or so with regards to cost versus investment of Mastermind. But for today, if you've got any problems at all in investing in your own personal development, professional development, to be able to benefit both you and your business, then the chances are that an investment in Mastermind is probably way beyond your concepts. Number one, guilt for investment. Number two, and our 7 things of why you wouldn't choose to join a mastermind. You haven't got the time. I know you're a busy owner. You're growing your business quite significantly on itself. You are a linchpin in the business. You couldn't possibly take time out to be able to sit round and talk about business, especially with other business owners. Now, unless I'm physically in my business, in my office, on a 24/7, I need to be there early and go home late. I need to be the first to arrive and the last to go home. I'm dedicated to my business, and I haven't got time for all this faffing about sitting around. Okay, so if you don't have time, the chances are it's because you are the bottleneck which is preventing the growth within your business. You have created a business that is surrounded around you. Now, with the greatest of respect, and I don't want to cause any offence here, but until you have a member of staff, you are one. And what you've created is a job. If at best you've created self-employment, the risk of, if you're not there, the whole thing collapses. Now, ironically, I know business owners that have got half a dozen staff, and yet none of them will do anything like the numbers that the business owner does in the business. They are the primary, by some margin, the primary fee earner in the business. And to think about potentially taking a day out, whoa, 2 days out? No, the business will collapse. We haven't got the collateral. If time is so dire to you that you haven't booked in and planned in some abilities to be able to grow your business time, if you haven't designated some time for you and your business to be working on it rather than in it, as Michael Gerber says in the very famous E-Myth and E-Myth Remastered books, then the chances are that you shouldn't be joining a mastermind, because believe you me, not only does it take some time out of your day, but you're going to leave with a whole series of actions that you're going to have to build into the day before you come to the next one. And if you haven't got time to attend, then you certainly haven't got time to be able to do the homework associated with people that are effective in mastermind. So if you haven't got the time, number 2, don't bother applying. Now, the third one's probably just as controversial, because you don't believe that investing in a mastermind group ought to cost you any money. You're far more keen to be able to find some form of peer-to-peer support group, or you believe that coaching for some reason ought to be free. I think the best expressions to offer here is the most expensive advice that you will ever take is that given for free. You see, as we all know, no one values free. If you're going down to the supermarkets to buy a loaf of bread, and when you get there you see there's an advert and it says buy one get one free, you fight for the second loaf. You've got no real interest or need of the second loaf, but as soon as it's there and it says it's free, you need it, you want it, and you're going to take it home. Chances are it'll end up in the freezer and wasted. And it's exactly the same with advice. There are people out there right now offering mastermind for 60, 80, 100 quid. And my challenge is, if that's the level of investment that you believe you and your business are worth, then ironically, the chances are that our Adazero 7-figure mastermind group is probably not the right level of investment for you. If you genuinely believe that you and your business future is worth 60 or 70 or 80 quid, then go and pay it somewhere else. But ironically, I can assure you, hand on heart, having done this the hard way several times over, you will always get what you pay for. And ironically, whilst I wouldn't want you to consider having to judge the success of a mastermind by the level of investment in order to be able to get into it, because some people out there are expensive, have an ulterior motive with regards to how much they can possibly charge for their events. Whilst I wouldn't want you to give considerations to, you've got to spend $100,000 a year and fly around the world before you be able to get the best. The simple fact is, what's right for you, right here, right now? The level of investment compared to the level of return on that investment. How do you be able to monitor and manage every single aspect of your business, CPD being just a small part of the whole rigmarole of things that you need to give considerations to? But how do you confirm that the level of investment that you put in is worthy, both in time and investment, of your time and investment? How can you measure the return on investment? Now, again, within My True North, we've made that very, very easy for people because we offer an 11-part guarantee. Interesting. We don't go for one or two, we've got 11. If you'd like to be able to see them, visit the website, or I'll put the link in the bottom there afterwards, about our 11-point guarantee. Being able to confirm to people that it is an investment as opposed to any risk of cost. But if you believe that a peer-to-peer support group is likely to be able to give you the same type of scrutiny and challenge and perception and depth and width and breadth of knowledge as going to an invested, professionally run business mastermind group, then so be it. You carry on and you go to your peer-to-peer support group. But ironically, I would challenge as to whether you're going to continue to get the same amount of scrutiny and challenge within a peer-to-peer, because ironically, there is always this undercurrent within a peer-to-peer group that don't want to cause any form of offence by being too stark about my observations of you and your business. And ironically, you're never going to get that when you're investing in someone with a neutral interest that isn't part of the group, that doesn't partake in the mastermind, is simply there to facilitate it. So you do tend to get what you pay for, and ironically, peer-to-peer, you're getting someone that's willing to be able to give some time and an alternative opinion or viewpoints to things, but that perhaps hasn't got the length and breadth of knowledge, of experience, of background as a professional coach running it as a career, as a professional choice. Number 4 in our 7 things as to why you might not choose to go ahead with a mastermind group is simply because you've been looking, but as of yet you haven't found the right group to join. And don't get me wrong, there are many groups out there with many different facets to them, or themes or methods in which they tend to run. And it might be that you've been out there and you've tried 1 or 2 or maybe several, and you haven't found the one that's worked for you, and now all of a sudden you've created this tarnish across the whole industry simply because you haven't found the right one for you. It's like going out and buying a new car. There are estate cars and there are sports cars, and there are convertibles, and there are SUVs. The simple fact is that there are a multitude of different models, types and choices to be able to go for. And if you're after an SUV and you end up with a Porsche 911, it's not going to do the right job. It's a nice opportunity, it's a nice alternative, but it's not going to do what you need it to do. And it's exactly the same within masterminds. You've got to be able to be sure and right that the right people in the right places at the right time enable you to be able to achieve the right set of results. But I would just ask that you don't tarnish the whole industry with your experience of it to date, and understand that there are a multitude of different types of mastermind out there, run by a whole series of different qualifications and competences of mastermind coach or guide, facilitator, Sherpa, as we like to be called, success Sherpas. But don't dismiss the whole industry simply because you haven't found the right one that's right for you as of yet. So that's number 4. Number 5, you don't want to share. I put this down as a little bit selfish. There are some people out there, I dare say I'm going to cause offence by this, but simply have not got the time, inclination or interest in being able to help and sit and support somebody else in their business success. And ironically, if that's you, then I assure you, you might as well switch the video off right now and stop listening, because Mastermind simply ain't for you. The whole concept of Mastermind is being able to share and understand that more minds working collectively and collaboratively towards one outcome will always create a better, greater, faster and more furious reaction or set of events afterwards than it will be if you ever sit there and continuously contemplate on it on your own. I'm reminded of the words from our great dear reminded of our dear parted friends now, Albert Einstein, possibly one of the greatest minds of modern times, when he simply said, you will never overcome any problem using the same level of thinking as that which caused it in the first place. And for me, that epitomizes exactly what Mastermind is all about. It's about understanding that unless you can sit at a problem and look at it from a multitude of different angles, that collectively we can dissect it, break it all down, find out what the bottleneck of the problem is, and then reconstruct it in such a way that it be able to provide you with a solution and a means forward, then, you know, if you're not ready to be able to share some of the problems that you face, if you want to be able to go out there with rose-coloured spectacles and tell the outside world everything's brilliant every single day of the year, then do you know what? The chances are that we probably can't help you either, and you're best not coming to bother us. Don't bother joining if you're not prepared to share. The last one for today is because you don't believe that you're ready. I've heard about these mastermind things before, Jay, but I don't quite think our small business is ready for that type of commitment yet. Surely masterminds are for big business. I wonder how they got big in the first place. I wonder how it is that some businesses just trickle along and make marginal gains year on year on year, and ironically about 80% of businesses tends to fall into that category. Meanwhile, 20% of businesses starts to have quite significant growth and scale periods within the business. And ironically, if you unpick and find out why, if you take up the hood and look into the engine block, if you find out as to what's going on behind the office, then you'll often find that it's when they moved from singular thought to collective action. When they got 3 or 4 other people on board to be able to help and support them, to be able to grow the business through a collective and collaboration of ideas, thoughts, suggestions and actions. And ironically, that's exactly what Mastermind does. We like to refer to Mastermind as the board that you really can afford. You see, we've already done the maths, and if you were to invest the same, if you were trying to have the same amount of access to the people and professionals within our Mastermind group for the same amount of time and the same amount of intensity over a 12-month period, you would invest well over £152,000 to be able to access that level of support to the amount of people that we've got within the Mastermind. Over £152,000 a year to be able to access their knowledge, their competency, their skill, their background, their experience, their challenge, their thoughts, their suggestions, their recommendations and referrals. And quite frankly, for some businesses within our Mastermind, that would still be a great investment. But in order to be able to get there, perhaps we haven't yet got to the stage where we are ready to have a full-time chartered certified accountant sat at us talking to us about the tax efficiencies and the business planning and the financial forecasting within our business. Perhaps we aren't yet ready to be able to take on a legal 200 lawyer to be able to help us with all of our legal aspects and HR and considerations in that respect. Perhaps we don't yet need a marketing consultant that's worked for some of the biggest names in the UK, building websites and graphic design. And maybe we don't need those people in our business full-time right now. But what if you could access them without having to salary them? What if they came as part of being part of a group where you and I and they all sat at a table and helped each other collectively and collaboratively work together towards the growth of our businesses, what would that do for you as a business? What would that enable you to do in 12 or 24 months' time if you had that level of support right here and right now? Because ironically, whenever you write a business plan, whenever you come up with a goal and an aspiration idea about where you're going to go in 2020, it's always based around the people in your team right now and what resources you have available to you. And you don't give considerations to, or very rarely, I've very, very rarely have I seen a business plan where someone's given due consideration to the acceleration having a board like that in the business could have for them and the business. And ironically, that is the linchpin that often prevents people from being able to give the consideration as to whether Mastermind is a cost or an investment. I hope you've got something really valuable from us today. Next Monday, I'll be talking about the investment in Mastermind and as to why it's priced the way it is. Why some offer it for peanuts and some offer it for far more than pounds. I hope you've got something from today. Let's have a quick look at the comments and find out as to who said what. Amanda, thank you very much for joining us. I get that now, where I never used to understand what you and Einstein meant by it. You have to upgrade yourself before the next level of thinking comes to you, and to upgrade, you need to step outside of your comfort zone. My God, do you need to step out of your comfort zone? Believe you me, there's a lovely expression, and sadly I can never remember as to where it was first originated. But I think it's a Mark Twain quote, but don't take me on, don't quote me on that. But there's a lovely quote, and it simply says, if you're uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, then learn to become comfortable with being uncomfortable, because it's the only way you'll ever find progress. You see, the only thing that is proven, that is the world over, and happens every single day, the only constant in life is that of change. And unless you are working towards change, unless you are looking to the future, unless you are pushing yourself every single day to achieve more, better, quicker, greater, more efficient, more effective, less costly, more profitable, unless you are driving your limits, unless you are using the incremental improvements of the Kaizen philosophies to be able to improve your business on an incremental level every single day, then quite frankly, you're slowly being left behind. Because life moves on, business moves on, your competition moves on, and unless you are moving on at a quicker rate, you are simply being left behind. I can't tell you how times I've heard people say, yeah, we were late to get in on this internet thing. No, we've still got a shop. No, we've not done an online shop yet. I was waiting to see whether it was just a fad. I think the dinosaurs died out on this planet simply because they were waiting to find out what was going to happen next. So please, whether you choose to join a mastermind or not, I need you to give some due considerations to where are you going to be this time next year with your current thinking, with your current plan, with your current team, with your current systems and processes and business plan. Where is it going to lead you in 12 months' time? Did you hit your goals from 2019? Where did that get you? And then let me pose the simple question. I'm happy to take comments if you want to be able to type something, but let me leave you with the simple question. Where could it lead you if you had a non-exec board of directors working with you to accelerate your business plan, that you achieve your 5-year goal in the next 18 months, like one of our clients did in July last year? They reported that on the 28th of July, they hit 2018's annual turnover. And the only difference was they joined Mastermind. Hope that helps. Have a great day and a wonderful week. Post as many questions as you want in the forum and the messages here. I'll be gladly to answer them as much as I possibly can. I'll be back Monday next week to be able to talk about the cost and investment of joining a mastermind group. Take care, and I'll see you soon.